Hey y'all, thanks for stopping in. I got this one here from the Daily Mail. Biden faces fury from the left for launching airstrikes on Houthi targets in Yemen without going to Congress. Democrats rage at the unacceptable violation of the Constitution as Turkey accuses US and UK of turning Red Seas into a bloodbath. So this is pretty messed up, and another example of how Biden has gone rogue. We really need to replace him via the election this year, not an impeachment, none of this nonsense that potentially the GOP is trying to pull that would allow the Democrats an easy out to get Biden off the ballot so that they can usher in whoever they want. Let's just hope Biden doesn't destroy everything in the meantime. But with Trump leading all the polls, it would only make sense to me to let him ride it out so that Biden can be replaced via the election in a proper manner. Let's just read the article. President Joe Biden is facing rage from the left for launching overnight strikes in Yemen without congressional approval. It came as Turkey accused the US and UK of turning the Red Sea into a bloodbath, and there were growing fears of widespread escalating violence in the Middle East, which is messed up considering the Abraham Accords and Trump had peace on the table. Peace in the Middle East is something that people my age have talked a lot about. We appreciated what Trump was doing over there with those Abraham Accords. And this is an example of Biden doing the things that the mainstream media had people afraid of Trump, that he never did, right? They like to drum up fake news of Trump, in speculation to create this boogeyman when the reality is Joe Biden is doing all the things that they feared Trump, the boogeyman, would do. So Democrats on Capitol Hill claim it was unconstitutional for the president to order U.S. fighter jets, destroyers, and submarines to hit targets used by Iran-backed Houthi rebels. Biden, who was lambasted by Donald Trump for dropping bombs all over the Middle East again instead of focusing on the migrant crisis at the U.S. southern border, the U.S. used more than 100 precision missiles, striking at around 2:30 a.m. local time on over 60 targets in 16 locations in the massive operation that led to powerful explosions lighting up the night sky in Yemen. Turkey's president furiously condemned the strikes as a statement this morning, accusing the US and UK of turning the Red Sea into a sea of blood. Iran and Russia also accused the West of illegal and escalatory actions. The Houthi rebels, who have been attacking international shipping in the Red Sea, vowed to make the allies behind the attacks pay a heavy price for the blatant aggression they claim has killed at least 5 fighters. In Yemen, there were mass protests in support of the rebel group in cities around the country, with tens of thousands of people taking to the streets chanting slogans and toting placards. These folks, if they can get overseas, they can walk right into our country across the southern border. That's a recipe for disaster here on the homeland. In Washington, Democratic progressives on Capitol Hill, including members of the left-wing group known as the Squad, responded with fury because Biden didn't seek congressional approval first for the strikes. California Democrat Ro Khanna said, for over a month, he consulted an international coalition to plan them, but never came to Congress to seek authorization as required by Article 1 of the Constitution. Well, that just goes to show that Joe Biden and these top Democrats don't respect the Constitution, and it also shows that they're going towards more of an international coalition to seek approval than they are on the homeland, getting the people's approval. Article 1 of the Constitution gives Congress the power to declare war. However, under the War Powers Act of 1973, the president is only required to inform Congress of military action within 48 hours. Under that act, if Congress does not then declare war, the president must end the military action within 60 days, with another 30 days for withdrawal. The White House and Congress have repeatedly argued over the parameters of the War Powers Act during military interventions over the last 50 years. Following the Yemen strikes, Cori Bush, a Missouri Democrat and member of the Progressive Squad, called the strikes illegal and told Biden 81 to stop the bombing and do better by us, which I agree with. The people do not want more of our taxpayer dollars going to an endless war and killing civilians, she added, which I also agree with. Michigan Democrat Rep. Rashida Tlaib also called the operation unconstitutional and said Americans are tired of endless war, which we are. Hopefully they remember that whenever they want to go bomb the next people that make them mad, though, right? She has previously accused Biden of supporting genocide in Gaza with his backing of Israel's military offensive in the aftermath of the October 7th Hamas terrorist attacks. Oregon Rep. Val Hoyle added, "These airstrikes have not been authorized by Congress. The Constitution is clear. Congress has the sole authority to authorize military involvement in overseas conflicts. Every president must first come to Congress and ask for military authorization, regardless of part." A Democrat from Washington said the strikes were unacceptable violation of the Constitution. Article 1 requires that military action be authorized by Congress, she added. A hopeful sign that Biden administration would take a more aggressive approach to Iran and its proxies. But what did Mitch McConnell have to say about our southern border being wide open? What does he have to say about Social Security supposedly going to run out by the time I'm ready to retire? I don't know. Donald Trump wrote on Truth Social, so let me get this straight. We're dropping bombs all over the Middle East again, where I defeated ISIS, and the Secretary of Defense, who just went missing for 5 days, is running the war from his laptop in a hospital room. I mean, that just doesn't sound good at all. Remember, this is the same gang that surrendered in Afghanistan, where no one was held accountable or fired. It was the most embarrassing moment in the history of the United States, and I do agree with that. We gave up an entire military base that I think China now is operating, right? I could be wrong, but correct me if I'm wrong. We now have wars in Ukraine, Israel, and Yemen, but no war on the southern border. Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Crooked Joe is the worst president in the history of the United States. Defending the White House's actions not to seek congressional approval, a senior administration official said senior leaders in Capitol Hill had been notified. That included the Gang of Eight group of senior figures in Congress. Our military action against the Houthis as part of the international coalition were fully consistent with international and domestic law, the senior administration official said. Yeah, but we don't care about international law whenever our local laws are being broken. Once again, more submission to an international government than submission to the people that pay the taxes for this country. We fund these missiles that are blowing up, and they're not cheap, right? The Justice Department has set out a long-standing test for the president's constitutional authority to direct the use of military force. There must be a significant national interest at stake, and the actions must be below the threshold of war in the constitutional sense. So I don't know about what part of dropping bombs and killing people doesn't constitute war. It doesn't cross the threshold of war, but that's bullcrap semantics. The facts here easily meet that test, given the attacks we had endured from the Houthis and the limited nature of the coalition strikes. So you're calling it a mini war. You still got to go to Congress. You still got to go through Congress, because look at how the people in these countries are responding towards me, the United States citizen, for something that I didn't approve of. You didn't even let the representative that I elected know what was going on so that person had the opportunity to say no. NATO declared the U.S.-led strikes were aimed at protecting shipping through the Red Sea and urged Iran to rein in its proxies. You know, there's a lot of countries over there that could defend themselves as it is, right? We give Israel like $3.5 billion annually. I feel like Israel should have enough money to drop those bombs, and they can do it themselves, right? I mean, I could be 100% wrong about that, but I don't think so. You know, maybe if we weren't shipping so much stuff over there, focused on ourselves, we wouldn't have to worry about the shipping lanes staying open. What are we shipping over there anyways? These strikes were defensive and designed to preserve freedom of navigation in one of the world's most vital waterways. The Houthi attacks must end, Dylan White, a spokesperson from the Western Military Alliance, said. The attacks come in response to months of Houthi-led bombings on ships in the Red Sea amid the conflict between Israel and Gaza. So whose ships are they bombing, and how is that the United States taxpayers' responsibility to keep that shipping lane open? If you guys know, let me know in the comments, but it doesn't sound like I should have any personal interest in that shipping lane staying open over there. So this is getting kind of annoying. Let me know what you think about this whole thing in the comments. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.